So I just finished watching Gintama, the final movie, through not-so-legal methods. I do want to say I will support the official release whenever given the opportunity in the land of Canada. With that out of the way, the title of this video pretty much speaks for itself. The final chapter in Gintama did have some pretty big shoes to fill though. I mean, let's not forget the manga was set to be ending in 2016, and when did it end, Mr. Gorilla? That's fucking right, 2019. Just off by like 3 years. But then the anime was like, hey, let me copy that, but change it up just a little bit by making us wait 2 years and a bit for it to come out. But with all that said and done, it was more than worth the wait. Everything the anime managed to establish and capture in its over 300 plus episode run is all at play here in some form or fashion, and this transcends beyond just seeming to have a lot of genres at play in the movie. For instance, each major character has at least one moment that they can call their own. The themes and lessons that embodied the show are here more than ever, with the most potent one being purpose, something that the movie centers itself around with various characters. Now, can I say this is a perfect movie? Look, I don't fucking know, alright? Similar to Avengers Endgame, this movie just follows its own rules, and seriously trying to determine whether this movie is perfect or not by normal movie standards is just opening a whole can of worms I don't want to open, alright? But once again, the title of this video says it. It is 100% a perfect end to Gintama. I laughed a lot during this movie. Like, the opening segment is a great testament to that. Only Gintama could have a ridiculous recap, and this fucking moment in the same movie, which, let me just say, is the hardest I've cried in a while. The whole movie was like that. I mean, I was fucking crying at simple flashbacks early on in the movie. But this moment just broke me. Takasugi was always up there as a favorite of mine, but with this absence early on in the series, it was hard to justify him to be higher than some of the OG characters on my list. But through this movie, his character arc has finally managed to come to an end. I can't thank this movie enough for being able to give him the opportunity to transcend beyond just being a generic rival that would die at the end of a series arc, which, as much as I love Gintama, I can sometimes be very guilty of. All the emotions we got to witness in Shogun Assassination and his development up to this point came together for a crescendo of raw emotion. Much like the other hard-hitting moments in the movie, which also hit an unmatchable peak due to the immaculate build-up through the serious arc frenzy at the start of episode 300, such as the reunion between Gintoki, Kagura, and Shinpachi, and the metaphysical fight between Gin and Utsuro. The two biggest nitpicks I had with this movie had to be how they brought Takasugi back, and the fact that some of the new designs to the time skips were just tossed aside in most cases. But when you dig further into the movie, Gintama manages to turn these flaws into a prime example of Gintama just being Gintama. Sure, I would prefer Takasugi staying dead just so that initial moment of me thinking he was dead would hit so much harder, but I can't be mad when the show explicits it as a last attempt for Shoyo to save his student. And while that Ginpachi segment at the end brought a big smile to my face with how they addressed the revival as well, in such a Gintama fashion, might I add. And yes, I wish they kept some of the time skip designs to forehold the passage of time actually occurring, but even so, I can understand the message it was going for. Even through all the hardships we go through in life, being able to retain who you are is something you should triumph over and not sulk about. Again, I can't seriously try to explain if this movie is a masterpiece by filmmaking standard, and maybe that's what the final movie to my favorite series was trying to prove. One's purpose doesn't need to be judged by the outside, but rather judged by the caring nurture of the world you know on the inside. Thank you, Gorilla Sensei, as well as the people over at Sunrise and Bandai Namco Pictures for making this masterpiece.